Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be on this event that we have going on here for the next 10 days. You got 3 days left on this boss, and I guess I'll make another video on the second boss. I know it's a little late, but to be honest, this was bugged up until like 24 hours ago, so like your scores didn't even matter, or 48 hours ago, I don't know. And on top of that, this event actually doesn't have those restrictions that they usually have in order to get all of the rewards, which is good. I don't think they should have that on there anyway. I think it's kind of silly. They do have this leaderboard where if you finish, high up in the rankings, you get additional rewards. So that's kind of cool. The only bummer is obviously if you don't have like busted LDs, you're not going to come anywhere near this leaderboard. So I would highly recommend that you don't even worry about it unless you're a whale. Other than that, I think you can look at the champions that people have been using in the individual rankings, and you can kind of just mimic them. If you want to try and get top 100, that's pretty cool. I'm nowhere near it. I'm 323, but what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get enough coins to get the rest of these rewards. So hopefully the explanation of this boss and such with this video will help you get a little bit higher scores than what you're currently getting. So in order to get higher scores, you got to understand the boss, okay? So this boss and this boss are exactly the same. They're going to introduce different bosses. This is just highlighting that you'll have two teams facing the same kind of boss. So this ability, the first ability that this boss has is something called Sacred Heart. And each level of Sacred Heart gives him random stats up, which is something that he will get at the beginning of each round. And he will get some kind of damage boost. It doesn't show it here, but after the boss gets Sacred Heart 3, you're basically going to die anyway, unless your team is extremely tanky. Maybe they can take one hit or something. I don't know. I've never survived past Sacred Heart 3. So the first mechanic that you need to worry about here is the fact that he will get random stats up. So he will get positive effects on him. And it also says here that he launches a bonus attack with Judgment Day if he has 4 or more positive effects at the start of his turn. So if he takes his turn and he has 4 positive effects, you are automatically going to die. All right? So you got one main goal here, and it's to not let him get 4 positive effects. The easiest thing for you to do to avoid this is use champions, and you'll see them in the leaderboard here. You want to use champions that have a no positive effect debuff. I use them on my team, and then you'll also see them here in the individual rankings. The servers are really bad today, so it's not cooperating very well. So Andre, right? Regular Andre, he has a really strong ultimate ability that removes all positive effects and then puts up no positive effects. So that is very strong to keep the boss at bay in regards to using his Judgment Day. You have Aaron here, which is A5, which can be replaced with Maeve, right, which was the new fire character that they released last limited summons, but she also needs to be A5. The reason why this is important is it will reduce the ultimate ability cooldown of Andre. And Andre's ultimate ability is on 4 turns. So if you can reduce that down to a 3-turn cooldown, very strong. And then each time you activate Aaron's trait with his Ascended 5 or Maeve's A5, it's going to loop back around much quicker. So no positive effects will always be up on this boss. You also have this in certain instances with other teams. Oderic here has no positive effects on his basic ability. You have Badmar, who has it on his ultimate ability. So that's what a lot of these teams are doing. They're incorporating that no positive effects debuff on the boss, which is kind of taking this whole Sacred Heart thing, or at least the Judgment Day aspect, out of the fight, which is really good. The reason why Sacred Heart is still important is he does get additional damage. So after the boss goes about 6 times in a turn, after 6 rounds or something like that, he's going to kill you anyway. So you want to try and do as much damage as possible in that amount of time. Let's talk about some other things. So he also grants himself an unremovable elemental power for 1 turn if he's affected by fewer than 9 negative effects at the end of the turn. And what elemental power does is it reduces damage taken by 50% and then grants a bonus attack with his basic ability alongside any attack against an enemy. All this means is if he doesn't have 9 negative effects at the start of his turn, he's going to have damage reduced, and he's going to take bonus attacks. Not good. So you want to have as many negative effects on him as possible. This also counts as stacks. What that means is if you have champions that have negative effects like Ignite that stack, each stack of Ignite is going to count as a negative effect. So if you have 9 stacks of Ignite on him, those are the negative effects that you need. So you'll see heroes like Meritome and Barclay and Hyun Woo that can stack a lot of poisons as one of these heroes that are in these top compositions, because this again takes out the possibility of this boss getting this elemental power buff. So anytime he's taking less damage, it's really going to reduce your score. So people that have either Ignite or Bleeding is really good. The reason why Poison isn't very good, even though Poison is usually a damage over time effect, he does have a little line down here in Storm Shield where he is immune to poison. So you don't want to bring a poison team. The other thing that he does is he grants 1 random stats up bonus to himself whenever an enemy attacks outside their turn, and then 5 random stats up bonuses when an enemy gains a bonus turn. So usually, if you attack outside of your turn with somebody like, a Meritome or an Opal or somebody like that, it's usually going to be very, very bad for you because he's going to automatically get, an additional positive effect. But if you incorporate heroes into your team that put up that no positive effect debuff, then all of the bonus attacks and extra turns that you take aren't going to matter because he won't be getting any of those positive effects. That's why you see, heroes like the Twins that have a lot of bonus turns and things like that. It's not going to matter because the no positive effects from Oderic or from Giranol are going to be up. So he won't get any of those. Same thing with this team. Maeve is generating a lot of bonus attacks. Meritome will joint attack. Barclay will have someone joint attack. All of these things, which would normally grant positive effects, aren't going to matter, because you have the no positive effects up from, your specific champions that put that up. So that is kind of null and void, right? If you have a no positive effects champion, you can take as many bonus turns. You can have people attacking outside of the turns as much as you want. So another one here. Deals damage to 1 enemy, implies no positive effects to them for 2 turns. This is just his basic ability. But he does have a passive ability as well. Whenever you apply a positive effect to yourself, he launches a counterattack with this ability. Now, this can scale up pretty quickly depending on the amount of Sacred Heart counters he has. Like a Sacred Heart 1 and 2, you can probably survive. But once he gets to Sacred Heart 3, if you put a positive effect on yourself, it's probably going to one-shot you. So you do have teams in here, such as mine, where I'm actually at a disadvantage by upgrading my Hyun Woo to Ascended 5, because every time he attacks, he puts a positive effect on himself, where these people that have like an A1 Hyun Woo, he is much stronger here, which I think is kind of backwards, to be honest. I'm being punished for investing more in a hero. I don't really understand that, but yeah, that's kind of how that is. So anytime you put a positive effect on yourself, like Aaron, if Aaron puts positive effects on his S2, the boss is going to counterattack against him and put no positive effects up on him. So that is something that you have to worry about. You know, a couple of these teams probably don't put a whole lot of positive effects on themselves. Like this team right here, Badmar has no positive effects. The Dark Twin doesn't put any positive effects on herself. The auras from Evelyn First Dawn don't count as effects. Oderic actually doesn't have any positive effects on himself. He just steals things. He steals the boss's attack. So a lot of these teams don't have positive effects for their team members because they're trying to avoid that mechanic of the boss. And then last but not least, you know, this boss does AoE damage on your heroes, which is a good thing and a bad thing. You know, if you have someone like Badmar, you're going to heal up a lot, and you really don't need to bring in another healer. And then he has another AoE effect that damage scales with the number of positive effects on him. So the moral of this story here, guys, is to try and find heroes that you have that have the ability to put up the negative effect, no positive effects, which is right here. It's right in front of my face. So there's some free-to-play options. There's some not-so-free-to-play options, like Oderic is by far the best hero for this event. So if you pulled the most recent LD and wailed out for it, you're getting rewarded here. Hulins is a very nice budget option. He is a rare elite hero, and every time he attacks, he actually has the ability to put no positive effects up on the enemy as soon as the data is done loading here. So if he's ascended, every time he attacks, he's going to have a 100% chance to apply those no positive effects, which is really strong. And then you have a couple of heroes here, you know, in the red, green, blue area that have it on their ultimates. So if you have A5 Aaron or ways to reduce your cooldowns, that's pretty cool. Giranol is one of the few RGB heroes that actually has the no positive effects on her basic. And then, like I said, Blue Andre is very strong here because he removes all positive effects on the boss, as well as putting up no positive effects. So these are your options to make sure that you can get some higher scores. So if you can apply the no positive effects on the boss and keep it up full time, then you can basically bring in whatever team composition that you want. You can bring in bonus turns, you know, with somebody like Evelyn First Dawn, which I also have down here somewhere, right here. You know, Evelyn First Dawn gives bonus turns. You have, you know, heroes like Yolanda. You have heroes like the twins. And any of those bonus turn heroes are fine, as well as joint attackers. You know, if you have a Bulin and you have the no positive effects up, she can do her induction, which can deal a nice amount of damage without putting up positive effects. So, yeah, you have all of those options. This is my current team. Like I said, it's not very strong, but I really don't care. I really don't care about this event. I'm just trying to get all the coins because I don't have any of the busted LDs to get a high score anyway. So, I guess I'll do a quick little run through here. We're at 13 minutes. You know, Meritome is one of my biggest damage dealers. I will replace somebody in here. Maybe like a, maybe we'll put a Bulin in here. So a team like this is one that, you know, has decent success for me. It's not super strong or anything like that, but it's enough for me to get a decent amount of coins. So as you saw here, Bulin actually has this shield ability that she puts up on herself, which is why he counterattacked right away. But again, I'm just trying to deal as much damage as possible, so she's going to live at least to a point where it's really not going to be a big deal for me. So here, as you see, the Barclay summoned in someone to join attack, and that's where he would normally get a positive effect. Because the no positive effects is up, we really don't care. So here, we will do her induction, just because we can't put up the immunity, so she won't get hurt as bad. And because we didn't put up enough negative effects, you see that the boss did end up getting this elemental power. So now he's going to reduce the damage. So that was a bad thing for me. But he will only have it for one turn, which is good. So after his turn is over, it should go away because now we do have enough enough negative effects on him. So most of my damage in this team is just going to come from the Meritome with her bleeds. And then just some little chip damage here and there from the Bulin. And that's it. And again, that's where Bulin got some no positive effects. So Bulin was actually a really terrible choice. In hindsight, I forgot about her shield. So, yeah, a team like this, other than maybe a better damage dealer for the negative effects. But here you'll see Andre, he removes all those negative effects and then puts up the no positive effects on the boss. So Andre is definitely a strong character. I would probably put in somebody like a Scarlet or something like that, just to put up more bleeds and make Meritome a better damage dealer. But you see there, like, my team is just... It's not doing enough damage within the amount of time here. Because this guy is just... He's getting stronger as the fight goes on. So here I'm trying to put up enough negative effects on the boss, which we should have so he won't grant himself, that Sacred Heart. And then Girinol is putting up the no positive effects. So the Elise here is removing the last of the positive effects. And then we'll have Girinol continue to just use her basic ability so the no positive effects will be up. And we're using Abaddon to do, be our main damage dealer or whatever on this boss, along with the negative effects from Bachelard. But this is not a good team at all, but it's just a team I'm using, to get a decent amount of coins each time we play through, just, again, so we can get enough currency to get all of the items. So that's all this is. It's a S team, maybe close to a double S team, and that's it. So you just set in, forget it, guys. Try and avoid, positive effects. And if you're going to do bonus turns, and if you're going to hit outside of your own turn with joint attacks or extra turns, make sure that you bring in a character with no positive effects. All right. So I'm not going to let this finish. That's all I have on this video and this event. It's pretty basic event, but bonus items and rewards, always a good thing, right? All right, well, I'm getting out of here. I hope this helped you maybe understand this boss a little bit more, and that's all I got. So catch you on the next one.